Hello, my name's Mel Ashworth and welcome to Coffee with the Councillor, and I have the pleasure today of speaking with Mike Bell. Hello, Mike.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome. I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Now, Mike, which party are you with?
I'm a Liberal Democrat.
Okay, and which ward do you cover?
I'm a North Somerset councillor for Weston-super-Mare Central, which is basically the town centre area, and a Western Town councillor for Ellenborough ward, which is around Ellenborough Park.
Right, okay. So have you been a councillor before this year?
I was elected, obviously, this time round back in May, and I was a councillor for 7 years between 2001 and 2007 as well. So I'm sort of having a second go.
You had a break and now you're back.
Yes, not a break by choice. I'm afraid that the electorate decided to give me 4 years off, so that's up to them. They're quite entitled to do that.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm back with a vengeance.
Now, what inspired you to get into local politics, Mike?
Well, two things really. I mean, partly it was my dad, because when I was younger, we used to spend a lot of time just talking about things, and I was always asking him, you know, why are things the way they are? How are decisions made? You know, how can we influence what goes on? And we were always talking about things like that. And really, when I got into my teens, sort of 15, 16, I got a little bit more interested in politics and saw that that was the way, that was a sort of mechanism for trying to influence things in my local area. And I got involved. And initially, I thought that I was a Conservative, because my dad had been a Conservative voter and a Conservative supporter. You know, I lived in Weston-super-Mare, which at the time, you know, we're talking 25 years ago, getting on for, was a Conservative area. So I thought initially I was a Conservative, but thankfully I did take the trouble to look into things in a little bit more detail, and I realised that I wasn't, and that actually I was a Liberal. And so that's really how it all started. So,
what did your dad think?
Well, I'm pleased to say in the end he was converted to the Lib Dems as well. So, I mean, basically I would say that's true of all my family, really. Right. If they're honest, they all started out as Conservatives and ended up following me into the Lib Dems. But in the end, he was very happy and you know, very pleased to see me involved in something like that.
Yes. So you were very young, really.
Mm-hmm.
What, 50?
Yeah, 15, 16, yes.
15,
so,
16,
yeah,
wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
so obviously I was also a bit sad and weird, because clearly, you know, 15
you said that, not me.
15 and 16-year-olds that join political parties, I think you can say by definition are a little bit weird. But there you go. I've grown out of it.
You've grown out of the
weirdness.
Oh,
yeah. I'm still a bit sad, but the weirdness is definitely gone. So that's okay.
Now, your whole family are involved in politics, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
On your wife's side and on your side.
Yes, although again, I would say how much of that is of their own free will and how much of it is because I've arm twisted them into getting involved is a different question.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really good. I mean, I think it has been something that the whole family, both on my side and my wife's side, have got involved in various ways, some behind the scenes. Obviously, my wife is a councillor, newly elected councillor too.
I think she sat here recently, didn't she?
Yes, she did. She did. Yes, I watched it and enjoyed that no end. So that was good. It's nice to hear my wife's opinions for a change.
Yeah, for a change. You have a young family as well, don't you?
That's right. We've got a young son, Jake.
Yeah. How old is he?
2 years and 3 months. So.
How do you find the time for local politics?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I mean, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't appreciate is that, particularly if you're a younger person, and although I'm soon to be, gosh, hang on, let's think this, 38, so I'm not really that young anymore. But compared to a lot of people in politics, and certainly a lot of people on the council, I'm at the younger end of the spectrum. I think what people don't appreciate is how difficult it is for people who are working, particularly. You know, I mean, I've got a full-time job, which I try to do. I've got a young family. I've obviously got interests outside of politics. Yes. And then, on top of that, I'm trying to balance the needs of my community and attend council meetings and all that kind of thing. So it is incredibly difficult. And I think you've got to be the kind of person, to do it well, you've got to be the kind of person that is prepared to work hard. Yes. And also make sacrifices in your own life. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that my own career has taken a back seat because I have been involved in politics.
And what was your chosen career, Mike?
Well, I mean, originally I was going to be a doctor, and I was going to go to university and study medicine and be a doctor. And in the end, I'm now working actually in politics because it enables me to do my sort of part-time volunteer political activity. So, there's no doubt at all that over the years, and bearing in mind it's now 20 years I've been involved in politics in one way or another. I think, I've missed out on job opportunities as a direct consequence because a lot of employers, and I don't blame them, don't necessarily want to give a job to someone who has got so much going on in their life.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You're a local lad.
Yep, Weston born and bred, I'm very proud to say.
Yes.
I was born at the old Weston Hospital in the Boulevard, as was, and my grandparents were also born in Weston, and they lived in Alfred Street in the town centre, and I was brought up in Wirral, just off Wirral High Street, and grew up there. And
Which school did you go?
I went to, let's think, oh gosh, you're testing my memory now. I went to Hillside Infant School, Milton Junior School, and then Wirral School, and then the Broadoak Sixth Form Centre. So I've had a good mixing around the area, and whatever I am is what Weston-super-Mare has made me. So for good or
good to you, though.
I think so. I love it. I mean, I still.
Yes.
I tell you, I am a bit sad still, because I still, when I go on holiday and I come back, I still get a sort of tingle down my spine when I see that Junction 21 sign on the motorway, and I think,
know what you mean.
I'm nearly home, and I love it, and I just think, the only thing that depresses me about Weston is that we don't have the ambition to make the most of what we've got, and that I think there's so much untapped potential here that particularly the political class has not done enough to deliver.
Can you broaden out on that at all?
Well, I think if you look back over a long period of time, we've had a pretty poor, and this is not a party political point, because irrespective of which party has been involved, I think we've had certainly pretty poor councils over a 30 or 40 year period. You think back to you can't think back because you weren't born, but if we think back to the 20s and 30s when we were building an international airport, for goodness sake, we were building the Winter Gardens, we were building Europe's biggest diving platform at the swimming pool on the front, and later to become the Tropicana. We were ambitious, we were thinking big, we were building on our Victorian heritage and really, putting ourselves on the map. And I think today, and since that time, over a long period of time, decades, we've been, there's been a poverty of ambition, and it's been all about, we can't do it here, or it won't work, or we haven't got the money, or people won't go, or whatever. And I think,
is that? Yeah.
I think it's not the people, because when I go out and knock on doors...
When we talk about the people, we're talking about the constituents...
Yeah, when I talk about the residents, when I talk about, when I think about the residents and I talk to them and I listen to what they're saying, I think they are ambitious for Weston, and they want us to move forward.
Yes,
and, the town motto, ever forward, which we hear politicians trot out all the time, really means something to the people who live here.
Yes.
But I think we've had a lot of councils particularly, and MPs as well to a lesser degree, who have just not shared that ambition, and they've seen it as their job to manage the decline rather than to take us up. And I do think that's really held us back, and that's really what drives me still, 20 years on. Why do I still do it? Why did I stand for council again in May? Well, it's not because I want to spend hours and hours and hours in meetings, in dreary meetings at the town hall. Sad as I am, I don't really want to do that. It's not that I particularly like all the other people I'm councillors with, because a lot of them are really annoying. It's because when I look at the way things are, I think they could be better. And when I look at the people who are doing it, I think I can do a better job.
Yes.
And that's what still drives me.
And you have to think that way, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean...
Why does anyone want to manage a decline in our town? Is there a hidden agenda that we don't know about? Or, what's going on?
I think it's the extent of their ambition. I mean, they've just, I think, unfortunately... And this is not a sort of ageist remark, but I think, unfortunately, we have suffered in that there are a lot of people who, have come to Weston to retire and, unfortunately, have chosen to go on the council to retire. which is not ideal.
So like a little hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not, they're not there to set the world on fire and make their community the best that it can be. They are there to do the basic job and the bare minimum and plod along. And I think that that's what an awful lot of them do. And ironically, it definitely isn't an ageist comment, because I think some of the younger people that get involved are like that as well. We do seem to have this sort of culture that attracts people who just want to tread water rather than necessarily really do anything. You see it at council meetings, you turn up and there's minimal debate about something and all the hands go up and then they all go home again. There's no energy, there's no drive, there's no determination to make things happen.
Do you think there's a general complacency amongst the council? Because, myself talking to people in Weston, they're fed up. They're angry.
Yeah.
Because Weston has started to turn and become a bit of a laughing stock of late.
Yeah, I'm not sure I entirely agree that we've become a laughing stock. I think despite everything, we're actually seeing some progress in some areas. I think Dolphin Square, if we can actually deliver it, is going to be a fantastic development. The seafront improvements have been really good. So there are some good things.
Okay,
However,
sorry, Mike, just to say, some of the people who've maybe come and, done some charity work, they're talking about a certain group of residents that, maybe don't take care of themselves and, quite low aspirational. Not the town as far as the work that's gone on.
Well, I think, we are a community like a lot of others where we've got a mixture of people, and I think there are no doubt, the town centre, particularly the ward that I represent, there is a lot of deprivation and there are big issues around health inequalities and education and jobs, crucially jobs, that we really need to sort out. Are councillors complacent? There's an element of complacency. There are some people, I'm going to bring him in. Elfyn ap Rhys has been a councillor since I was born, and I'm sorry, but after that period of time, even if you were the best person in the world, he's probably lost his way a little bit after that long. Continuously a councillor, and for a large part of that time, a leading player in terms of being responsible. I think that needs to change. We need to get some fresh faces and some fresh ideas.
Yes.
But I think the other problem is that we've got a vicious cycle in terms of public opinion, because I think you talk to residents and they say, well, there's no point in talking to the council because they're useless and they don't ever do anything and blah, blah, blah. And the reason the council stays as it is they get away with it. The fact is the public don't come to council meetings and give us a hard time. You get very little contact and correspondence from members of the public in terms of the issues and decisions. And what I would say to people, my plea to anyone watching this would be to say, give politicians a hard time, complain, phone them up, write letters, come to meetings and tell them what you want. Now, they're not always going to deliver it, but what I know is that most of them want an easy life and they want to turn up to the meeting, do as they're told and go home again. And what they don't want is an ear bashing from residents, and that's what we've got to start doing. We've got to start agitating for the improvements that we want to see and make the politicians deliver.
Right. We've got to become a bit more continental in
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely. It's not just a Western thing, but I think there is a particular issue here in that we've become a bit staid.
Yes, very interesting. Okay, on a lighter note, what hobbies do you have, Mike?
I don't have a lot of time, unfortunately, of course, for reasons that we've mentioned before, but I do like, I like football, so I like playing football with my son, which is great fun. So even at 2, we go to Soccer Tots on a Saturday morning and practice our football skills, which is a great opportunity for me to kick a football around, and he can watch me. And I like going to watch Weston Football Club, who are doing very well this season, so I don't always get down there as often as I would like, but I do like that. And I'm also a secret Liverpool fan. I have to say secret because that's where my local passions do seem to get a bit stretched. But that's a family thing. I support Liverpool because my brother did, and so, for some reason, some insane reason, I at one point must have liked my brother, but so I followed him. And I like spending time with my family. That's the thing that I really enjoy. That's the relaxation, and it's really good fun.
Fantastic. Mike Bell, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, no worries.
And that's it from Coffee with a Councillor once again. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.